That stove, the stovepipe keeps stopping up right at the bottom. And the reason it stops up is I'll go over and bang it, and you listen to this stuff falling down. Hear that? Well, that stuff falls down there, and there's a plate on top of that stove. And to clean it out, you sit down on cross-legged on the floor, and you reach in there and you take out a piece of steel, 2 fire brick, another piece of steel, 2 more fire brick, and finally you get to the piece of steel that you tip, and all that old dried creosote spills out, and of course you're good for a few weeks. So what I don't like having to do that. So what I've done is I've made a vacuum attachment. It's made out of 1-inch tubing. I have to make mine out of aluminum. I don't recommend that because it's too hard to TIG weld. And I welded it right angles to one another, and I've got to where it just barely fit up in that stove. And maybe I can video that. Let's give it a try. Okay, I still got to get down to the floor, which isn't a favorite thing for a fat old man. The stove, except for some hot coals back in the left-hand corner, it's cool. Well, it's almost cold, but here's the contraption I made. And it'll just go right up in there, like that. And with a little luck, it's going to swing around. This may not happen. It's my first time to try it. Well, I may have to flatten it some. Something's catching it. It's not wanting to turn. Anyway, the idea is if I can get it to work. Let me go. I tell you what. Let me go flatten it. Okay. With the fat old man getting back down on the floor. Okay. That's where it'll turn. Get up in there now. There's that stuff it just got. I'd cleaned that out. I guess I ought to bang on it and clean it out real good once and for all. And anyway, I figure I'd do that once a week. I won't have to take all those fire brick out and pieces of steel. Now taking them out really isn't all that hard. It's getting them back in that's where it's not so easy. Okay, I finally got it flattened enough. I'm not sure what I flattened it to. Just a little under 3/4 of an inch. I'm glad it's made out of aluminum when it came to flattening it. So I got it to where it would turn. Now I had made this where the vacuum cleaner end would fit up in that, but that was a waste. As a matter of fact, I just soon not even be on there. This stuck down in the hose. Actually, need to keep this separated from the hose where you can feel the particles passing by on your hand. Just kind of use your hand to seal it, but let the meat of your hand kind of get in the way of the particles coming through, because as soon as the particles, you can't feel any particles coming through, you know you got it clean. Otherwise you'd be guessing because you can't see up in there. So you could just hold and another thing about just holding it, of course you'd be turning it by hand anyway. This wasn't necessary. So it worked. So if you've got a wood stove doing something like that for you, that maybe this would be of help to you. Like I say, I'm going to use it about once a week. Well, that's my end pin, and then that'll keep me from having to take all those fire brick out and those pieces of steel, which, like I've said before, they're not that hard to get out, but they're not much fun to get back in.